Bethany vividly remembers the day her mother, Margaret, carried her baby sister Mia home from the hospital. "You're the big sister. You have to help me take care of your younger brother," her mother said in a gentle yet responsible voice. At that time, Bethany was just a 5-year-old child, not knowing that that sentence would become the tie that bound her entire childhood. Although their house is not rich, it is cozy, located in a small, quiet neighborhood. Her father, Daniel, worked as an accountant, and her mother worked as a secretary. Bethany used to think her family was complete, but gradually she realized that enough was not for her, but for Mia. As each day passes, the unfairness of the parents' treatment becomes more apparent. When Bethany was 10 years old, she accidentally broke a plate while washing dishes and was punished by not being able to watch TV for a week, plus housework. But just the next day, Mia broke her mother's favorite vase while chasing her around the house, and her mother just patted her head and smiled gently. "She's still young. She doesn't know anything yet." A feeling of self-pity began to form in Bethany's heart. She has to do housework to receive pocket money, while Mia always has everything she wants available. If Bethany needed new clothes, she had to wait until a birthday or a special occasion, but Mia just pointed at the store window and immediately had a new dress. The older Bethany gets, the more she realizes that her life revolves around her responsibility to Mia. From helping her get dressed, taking her to school, picking her up, to doing homework with her, everything belongs to Bethany. Her youthful dreams were gradually buried under the burden of responsibility. But even so, she still tries because of a fragile belief. If she does well, one day everything will change. But that hope only makes the pain deeper as injustice grows. Everything culminated on a fateful Wednesday in May when Bethany had just turned 15 years old. It was supposed to be a special day for her, the day she was about to complete her math test, an important step in preparing for the future she was building with her own hands. But in her heart, Bethany only thought about the summer art camp she had worked hard to save for all year. She worked non-stop, even taking on extra housework to make money, and that hope was like the light at the end of the tunnel. That day, the test took longer than expected, and she arrived at the elementary school to pick up Mia 10 minutes late. The sight of the empty schoolyard made Bethany's heart clench. She searched for Mia everywhere, from the classroom, the bathroom, to the playground, but there was no trace of her sister. Fear surged as she jogged to Mia's best friend's house, but received a cold answer. "Mia isn't coming here today." Bethany searched frantically for 5 hours. Her feet blistered, her phone battery drained, and tears filled her eyes. When Bethany finally returned home, exhausted and anxious, she found Mia calmly eating pizza with her parents. To Bethany's surprise, Mia burst into tears, accusing her sister of abandoning her at school. Bethany couldn't believe the lies, but her parents believed Mia completely. "You're so irresponsible," her mother barked. And this time the punishment was the loss of both her phone and the opportunity to attend summer art camp. Mia calmly smiled sarcastically. At this point, you may feel angry on Bethany's behalf. Not only was she taken advantage of, but she was also betrayed by her own family. What should Bethany do? Maybe it's time for her to set clear boundaries and focus on herself. Support Bethany by encouraging her to leave her family's control and look forward to her own future. A future where she is herself, not a shadow of anyone. After that fateful event, Bethany was never the same. Not only did she feel hurt, but she also realized a bitter truth. She could not expect justice from her family. The feeling of betrayal and helplessness made her no longer want to try for her parents' recognition. Instead, Bethany directed all her energy into studying. As a high school student in America, Bethany realized that the only way to escape this injustice was to become independent. She spent all night completing assignments, stayed up late studying for the SAT, and constantly searched for scholarships. Her classmates called her the nerd, but Bethany didn't care. She knows that if she doesn't try, her future will just be a cycle of days living in her sister's shadow. Bethany's tireless efforts finally paid off. When the acceptance letter from one of America's most prestigious universities arrived, she couldn't believe her eyes. A full scholarship. She did something that no one in her family, including her parents, ever expected. But that joy was quickly extinguished when she decided to talk to her parents about the college fund they had promised her. "We'll use that fund for Mia," Margaret said firmly, as if it were a matter of course. Daniel didn't even bother looking up from the newspaper. "I already have a scholarship. Mia might need it more." That was the moment Bethany understood that in this family, she was just a source of labor, the name behind Princess Mia. Her emotions seemed to burst into pain, anger, and determination. In American culture, personal values and independence are considered the foundation for success. Bethany has proven her worth without anyone's help. This is also the time for her to learn how to let go and set limits with those who do not appreciate her. With the scholarship in hand, Bethany's future is a new page, a page she has full authority to write. Bethany left her family on a quiet summer morning while the whole family was still sleeping. No goodbyes, no tears. There was only the gentle sound of the door closing and an Uber waiting to take her to a new chapter of her life. That was the moment Bethany felt her first sense of freedom. Freedom from the burdens her family had placed on her over the years. In college, Bethany worked harder than ever. Not only did she focus on studying, but she also took a job at the campus coffee shop to earn extra money to cover expenses. Her life consists of opening the shop at 5 o'clock in the morning, classes lasting until evening, and late nights writing essays. However, Bethany feels like this is the first time she has control over her life. Graduating summa cum laude from one of America's top universities was a milestone she never thought she would achieve. But Bethany didn't stop there. She moved to Seattle, where she began working at a marketing company. The starting salary wasn't high, but she didn't complain. For Bethany, this is an opportunity to assert herself without relying on anyone. Year after year, Bethany continually proves her worth. She rented a small apartment herself and gradually climbed to higher positions in the company thanks to her ability and perseverance. She even bought a car, a symbol of independence and success in America. Bethany not only built her career, but also learned how to rebuild her self-esteem. Her success is a testament to an important value in American culture. Success is not given to you, but something you create with your own hands and determination. Bethany's story is a powerful inspiration, encouraging us to stand up for ourselves, no matter how difficult it is. With a new beginning, she is writing her own story, where she is the main character, not someone else's shadow. As Bethany was enjoying the fruits of her efforts, she suddenly received a call from her mother, Margaret. After many years of only receiving brief messages on holidays, her mother's voice on the phone surprised her a bit. "Your father is not well, and the house needs repairs. We're in trouble," Margaret said, her voice pleading. Even though she was still angry about the past, Bethany couldn't ignore it. She established a monthly stipend of $1,500 to support her parents. For her, it is a way to show responsibility, even though she knows that they have never been responsible to her. But the truth quickly emerged. While scrolling through social networks, Bethany happened to see posts from Mia, the difficult younger sister that her parents always talked about. Mia, with her new Gucci bags, luxury spa sessions, and lavish meals at expensive restaurants, is enjoying a life of luxury from the money Bethany sends. This not only made her angry, but also made her feel betrayed again. Bethany tried to find out, but every time she asked her mother about the use of the money, the answer was vague. The climax was when her mother asked for a large sum of money, $50,000, to organize Mia's wedding. To Bethany, it was an insult. She spent her entire childhood sacrificing for Mia, and now they dare ask her to fund her sister's extravagance? Listening to this story, we cannot help but feel outraged for Bethany. She gave them a chance to repair their relationship, but they took advantage of her kindness. It's time for Bethany to set clear boundaries and demand transparency. Advice to Bethany: stop funding selfishness and exploitation. Use the money you worked so hard to build for your own goals, like investing, personal development, or for a family you build, where you are truly appreciated. The audience can support Bethany by sharing her story so that everyone understands that kindness should not be abused, and that sometimes saying no is the greatest liberation. When Margaret calls Bethany to sponsor $50,000 for Mia's wedding, Bethany feels as if she is reliving the unfair days of her childhood. She sacrificed her entire childhood for her sister, was unfairly blamed, and treated unfairly more than once. And now, When she tried to re-establish the relationship by providing monthly financial support, her family continued to make unreasonable demands as if her sacrifice was obvious. Bethany flew home, worried that her father, Daniel, was facing a serious medical problem. But when she entered the house, she realized there weren't any signs of a crisis. Her father sat reading the newspaper, healthier than she expected, and the house did not appear to be in a state of disrepair. On the contrary, the wedding magazines and the large diamond ring on Mia's hand quickly revealed the true purpose of that emergency call. "We need money for the wedding," Margaret said, as if $50,000 was a small number. Mia, with an arrogant smile, added, "Actually, I wanted $100,000, but thinking about you, I cut it in half." That sentence was like a fire that burned Bethany's remaining patience. In American culture, where independence and respect for the individual are considered core values, this request is a clear insult. Bethany worked, saved, and achieved success on her own, only to see her money blatantly exploited. For the first time, Bethany stood up for herself. "No," she said emphatically, "I won't pay a penny for this wedding." She points out past injustices and current abuses. The calmness in her voice panicked her family more than any anger. Bethany's actions were an important turning point. She broke the cycle of exploitation and set boundaries for herself. This story is a reminder that no one has the right to take advantage of your kindness. It's time for Bethany to use her energy and assets to build a truly happy life, where she is no longer bound by unreasonable demands from her family. The audience should support her decision and encourage her to continue her independent journey. After confronting her family about Mia's unreasonable demand of $50,000 for her wedding, Bethany learns that this isn't just another exploit. It's the culmination of the selfishness she's endured all along. Lifetime. Anger and pain flared inside her, but this time, Bethany didn't let them control her. She decided to act decisively, putting an end to the vicious cycle of injustice. Bethany asked her parents and Mia to explain clearly how to use the $188,000 she had sent back over the past year. That's the amount of money she thought was used to pay for her father's medical expenses and home repairs. But when asking for invoices and proof documents, everything is just silence. When she pointed out that Mia had used that money to buy branded goods and live a luxurious life, her mother could only stammer, while Mia blushed with anger. Bethany felt a change in herself. She was no longer the little girl, always trying to please everyone. "As of today, the benefits stop," she announced. "Don't call me, don't text me, you have taken enough." That statement was like a word of liberation for Bethany herself, when she asserted her value and control over her life. In American culture, setting boundaries is an important skill for protecting mental and physical health. Bethany eventually learned to do just that. To say no to unhealthy relationships, even if it meant cutting off contact with her biological family. The audience not only sympathized but also felt proud of Bethany's strength. This is a reminder that sometimes you need to say no to open the door for better things. Advice for Bethany is to continue investing in herself, building relationships with people who truly love and respect her. Her journey is not over, but she is now in a better position to write the next chapter, one filled with freedom, independence, and self-respect. Bethany returned to Seattle with a feeling of relief, as if she had just let go of a burden that had haunted her all her life. This was the first time she truly stood up for herself, said no, and set clear boundaries with those who took advantage of her. In the days that followed, Bethany's phone rang endlessly with critical messages, from her mother's pleas to Mia's angry accusations and her father's cold silence. But instead of feeling heartbroken, Bethany realized she did the right thing. When the story about her family spread among relatives, Bethany decided to tell the whole truth on social networks. She wrote a long essay sharing about her unfair childhood, her unrecognized sacrifices, and how she was taken advantage of financially over the years. This article is not only a relief, but also a warning to those who are going through similar situations. The post quickly spread among family and friends, with many people offering support and sympathy. Those who had criticized her also began to see the big picture clearly. Mia ended up having a small wedding, not at a fancy venue or with a lavish wedding dress, but at a mid-range restaurant with a limited menu. Meanwhile, Bethany is busy with her new life. She continued to advance in her career, bought a nicer apartment, and began a healthy relationship with Michael, a kind software engineer who understood and respected the boundaries she set. In American culture, Bethany's story is a testament to the power of independence and setting boundaries. She showed everyone that cutting off toxic relationships is not selfish, but a necessary action to protect yourself and find true happiness. Bethany's story ends with a strong message. Family is not just blood, but people willing to love and respect you. Bethany has now found her real family, a family she chose for herself based on the values she cherishes. She embodies resilience, independence, and self-respect that anyone can learn from.